Dominic Toretto and his family of street racers return in Fast X, the 10th entry in the mainline Fast and Furious franchise. And after watching them literally fly a car into orbit in the last film, my immediate question heading into this one was what new ridiculous stunts could the filmmakers possibly have to top that? The key word here is ridiculous, of course, because these films clearly left the realm of plausibility behind several entries ago. But does their pursuit to up the ante with the latest installments come at the price of a sensible script with tangible stakes, or was it redeemed by the power of family? Hi guys, Michael Abaimi here, and today I'm reviewing Fast X. As is now a tradition in these Fast and Furious movies, Fast X begins by retconning a new villain into the current timeline. So cue a flamboyant Jason Momoa as Dante, son of slain drug lord Herman Reyes from the Fast Five, who, like those that came before him, now seeks revenge against Dom and the rest of the family. But unlike prior adversaries, Dante would quickly prove to be unhinged enough to do whatever it takes to get that revenge, even if it means eliminating all and any that stand in his way. A film like Fast X almost demands to be appraised by its own rules. Either that, or you constantly find yourself struggling to grapple with its disregard for basic inconveniences like the laws of physics, or the way our heroes tear through cities full of people without batting an eyelash at the stacks of bodies they live in their wake. The last film explored the idea that our main characters might even be godlike beings who can perform superhuman feats, and it seems that this one fully embraces that idea, for better or worse. I guess this is my way of saying if you weren't a fan of the prior entries, then there is nothing in this new one that could possibly work to win you over. You are either along for the ride from the very beginning, or you feel like you're being dragged along against your will. I find myself somewhere between those two extremes, having enjoyed past entries like Fast 5 and Furious 7, while completely hating Fate of the Furious. So I was indeed very surprised by just how much enjoyment I was able to glean out of Fast X. The plot is just as nonsensical as it has ever been, of course, don't get me wrong, and the script almost feels AI generated at points, with cheesy dialogue and leaps of logic galore. There is a near constant barrage of meaningless fight scenes that end just as abruptly as they began, making one wonder if they were simply inserted into the movie to keep viewers engaged. The sound mix was also messed up during action scenes, making it hard to hear what characters are saying over the sound effects and music, although I'm not sure if that was from the movie itself or the particular screening I went for. But it was clear to me that in the midst of all that madness, that the all-star cast was simply having a blast hamming it up in those scenes, and it was their enjoyment that I found most infectious, almost making the cheesiness excusable. Notice that I said almost, because there is simply no excuse for some of the atrocities I had to endure during the movie. If you watch any of the trailers, then you probably already know what I'm talking about. But believe me when I say that none of the trailers were enough to prepare me for what was to come. At nearly 2 hours and 30 minutes, the movie feels overlong. The worst part is that it doesn't even manage to tell a complete story in all that time, as it quickly becomes apparent that this was all set up for another inevitable sequel. And if what Vin Diesel himself alluded to during the recent premiere of the film is to be believed, then we might be getting not one, but 2 of those sequels. But if you enjoy watching CGI cars and explosions get thrown around the screen with reckless abandon, then maybe that's the exact type of news you want to hear. Fast X can be summed up in 3 words: fun but exhausting. It ticks all the requisite boxes that make some good mindless action, but does so without managing to move the franchise forward in any meaningful way. It makes the most of his worn-out premise by leaning heavily into the star power of his cast members, especially Jason Momoa. The decision to end the film with a literal cliffhanger might not bode well for those that like to have some closure in the films they watch too, but there is a mid-credit scene that will all but ensure that fans will be back for the next round of vehicular madness. I'll give the film a 6 out of 10. What did you think of Fast X? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'll be taking another break from Tears of the Kingdom to review Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse soon, so make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on if you don't want to miss that. And until the next one, this is Michael, signing off.